episode 9 of the Bowl30 podcast. Let's let it burn.
US dollar versus the euro.
So what I was just saying was that the euro took a big hit after Brexit. Which, Brexit was in what, October? I'll have to look at it.
Okay, I'm going to look at it over the course of a year. Let's see. The euro in April of last year was 0.88, which is about $1.
0.88?
Yeah, so that's like $1.10 thereabout.
I think it's more than that. What would that be? 0.88 divided by 1, right? Or no, 1 divided by 0.88. $1.13. Okay, so $1.10. Okay. $1.13.
So, Brexit happened when, did you say?
And then, what was it? February, it was...
Well, Brexit happened when did you say? October, you think?
I thought it was in October.
Okay, so in October, it fell... Well, in October, we went from 0.89 to 0.9, but with a bump in the middle of 0.91.
Okay, so the vote was held on June 23rd. Okay, so let's look at the graph.
Okay, so June 23rd. Stand by. 23rd of June would give us a pretty high peak here.
0.89.
So 0.89, and then it grows up, and then it falls down, and then grows up, and it falls down, and then grows up, and it falls down, and then grows up, and then it falls down. But then it completely falls after the election. This is the election.
So now it's at 0.94.
Well, this is the election right here. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
This is the lowest point of the dollar.
What is it? It's point...
And that's 0.89.
0.89.
And then right after
$1.12.
Yeah,
went
after
to
the
0.94.
Yeah, so at the end of the year, after when the transition started, this is the highest that it's been. It's 0.96.
So it's okay, and 0.96.
So it's like $1.
Is $1.08.
Really? $1.
Hold on. 1 divided by 0.96. $1.04. $1.04. You're
$1.04. Okay.
Dollar. You said $1.05. Okay.
Yeah, I said $1.05. So that's fair enough. Okay. But if we go back, I mean, let's see if it goes back further than a year. Oh, bastards! It doesn't. You assholes.
Not on that specific website.
Okay, let me go back here. Let's take a look here.
Hey, do you have a micro USB charger? I think that's a micro USB. It's is it the micro or the mini? It's the really small one. Do you have one of those hanging around?
I have one of these. I think that's a mini.
That's a mini.
Does
that look like a micro?
I'm sorry, I can't see that. That's
I have a Samsung TL210 camcorder camera.
This is a specific USB
That's proprietary?
proprietary to Canon and
Samsung is what you're holding.
Is it a Samsung that I'm holding? Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have one of these.
Holy shit. That's fucking crazy.
Hold on, I have to think of where it is though. Is it because I don't know if it's here.
Yeah, it could be at the old place. All right, well, whatever. Welcome to the Bowl30 podcast.
Have we been recording?
Yeah, we've been recording for 4 minutes.
Good sweet lord!
As we babble about...
This is an ambush!
About exchange rates, like we really care. God. Dude, like, financial markets are just, like, mind-boggling that people can work a job now where you sit behind a computer, and I've seen people that do this as a job, and they day trade all sorts of shit, and you can buy futures for any sort of a commodity, and you can gamble on those, basically betting. Like for a futures contract, you pay I think it's 10 or 15% up front for the contract, and let's say you're betting that let's say you're long on silver, meaning you think silver's going to go up, right? You have a contract, so that's 1,000 ounces, and silver's like $17 an ounce right now. So if you want to buy a contract for that, it'll cost you like $1,700 because it's a $17,000 bar of silver that you're buying in the future at a future date. And then if the price continues to go up, you bought it at 17 an ounce. Let's say the actual trading price goes up to let's say it goes up to $19 an ounce. You could give that contract back and collect that $2,000 difference, that $2 per ounce on that 1,000 ounce bar. But if it goes down, and you're betting that it's going to go up, after it goes down like a couple bucks, they call you up. They're like, oh, you're going to have to give us more money on this contract if you want to hold it, or we're just going to sell it out, and then you lose, you've not only lost your deposit, but you've also lost, another $300, let's say, if it goes down $2 an ounce. So it's crazy, like, that there's people out there, and that's all they do all day, is they call people up, and they're selling, they're wanting to broker contracts for them, if they're an investing advisor, or if they're just in it for themselves and they've got tons of money, or if they're people that work in the trade. That's really what those commodity markets were set up for, is for people that you're going to be producing some crops, in like 6 months, but they're not ready yet, but they're in the ground. Well, I can sell that contract right now. This is how the futures market started. And I can have some money as a farmer, and I'll sell it at the market price today in the future to whoever takes that offer, right? But now it's morphed into this whole electronic trading bullshit, fucking bullshit, where like you're not producing anything. Like what product are you producing, dude? A financial product? Like there's not a physical object that you're creating. And I mean, and it's not something that can be consumed, okay? Like you could say, like, I'm a content creator for YouTube, right? Like we're creating a podcast. At least you guys can fucking consume that. I mean, it's kind of real. It's as real as those electronically traded futures are. They're digits running through fucking fiber optic cables across the goddamn country. But nevertheless, it's a consumable product. Like the people that are shuffling fucking bullshit paper, trading stocks and all that crap, you're not producing anything. It's amazing. It's not really a job. You don't contribute anything to fucking society.
You have scratched the surface. You have begun to get that Evan has just gone into flames.
I just relit a cigarette and it just like dropped some ashes on me, but I put them out fast enough.
So stop that. Don't burn our collective houses down.
Gotta look out for those refry cigarettes, man.
Okay, so scratched the surface. I mean, hit upon something that is this yours?
That's garbage, though.
Oh, okay.
That's from that webcam I'm trying to tear apart.
Okay. It is in the trash. It will disappear. It is mind-boggling to me, baffling to me. I honestly do not understand. I'm very good at empathy. I can usually put myself in almost anybody's position, which makes me really annoying at things like debates and what have you, because I can actually see the other person's side, put myself in their shoes, and understand where they're arguing from.
It's always the goal in life, see the other person's side.
What escapes me is how much our lives are wrapped up in money. It's trade is just, I mean, what that says to me is that some people are so far gone from the plane of reality, they live in an etheria that I wish I could touch. I mean, I swear to you, the stock market is one of the stupidest things that I think exists on the planet. Because, okay, now this may, I think we've touched on this before, money doesn't exist.
Right. It's not even, like, 95% of money out there is not even printed on paper.
Yeah,
it's electronic digits and fucking computers.
Yeah, it's just something that we believe is there. And it drives me nuts that, and I am guilty of this. I am a hypocrite. I was really depressed over the course of the last 3 days. You know.
Yeah.
I've been down and out.
Yeah.
Finally, a check arrives that gives me money.
Yeah.
Do I seem like I'm in a better mood?
Yeah.
I don't think it's just
a bit happier today. A little bit more jovial all around. We should have a word of the day for the podcast. I'm going to look up what the word of the day is.
Castigate.
Did you already look it up?
No. I just think castigate should be a great word.
Castigate.
Castigate.
Castigate. What does castigate mean? Castigate. Reprimand someone severely. Boy, I castigated that guy that worked on my car. I told you that.
Yes.
I don't even know if I want to get into it because it's like it just drops your mood. Like when you talk about things that like piss you. Like if I talk about something that pissed me off, like I'll get pissed off again, and I don't want to rehash all of that. But basically, I got in a car crash. I brought my car to a shop. The shop didn't even answer the phone when I called them the first time. That should have been a warning sign not to go there. But
well, tell them how you found out about the shop.
Well, it was recommended to me by my auto mechanic.
That's a killer right there.
Yeah. But basically, so the insurance company cuts you a check for the repairs, right? And they just hope that you never really go and do anything with it. They just hope you spend it. They hope you don't go to a shop and then the shop says, oh, it's actually going to be more money, and then they have to send paperwork in. They make you jump through these hoops, right? So I went there like a couple days before I was going to drop the car off, and I scheduled to drop it off, and I gave them the form to fill out for additional monies to be charged, a supplemental insurance form. So I gave him the form, and I told him, I was like, hey, can you fill it out and get the parts ordered? And he's like, yeah, I'll do that. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll drop the car off in like 4 days. And he's like, yeah, and I'll be able to have it done in like 3 days after that. So I'm like looking to get my car back in a week's time and not be out of it for too long. And I got a young baby that needs to move around in that car. So I dropped the car off, and that 3 days came and went without a phone call, and I just kind of figured I'm not even going to put pressure on him because that's asking a lot. Like that's like too much of a promise anyways. I figure, okay, I'll wait a couple weeks. No call from him. I called him, no answer. I stopped by the shop a couple times, and no one's even in the office on a couple occasions. This is open to the public. It's I could have stole a whole bunch of shit out of their office. I didn't, because I'm not that kind of person, but it was just insane to go and sit in this office and have nobody there and nobody check in the office. I mean, I know that there's people working in the back, but to have nobody come into the front area for an hour, I waited there for an hour one day. Well, long and short of it, then, the day before Christmas Eve, I get a phone call, oh, your car's ready, and I'm like, okay, I'll come down and get it, and they're like, well, we're closing. And I'm like, well, can you stay? I can be there in 10 minutes. Can you guys wait 10 minutes for me to come and get my car after waiting all this time? And then I go down there, and then they're like, oh, yeah, it's going to be $140 more. And I'm like, well, you were supposed to submit that supplemental form. You said that you did, but I knew that they didn't when I dropped the car off. And then when I called him a few times, I said, I asked him, did you fill out the form? He's like, oh, yeah, I did. And then I called the insurance company. They're like, yeah, there's no form. And so when I go to pick it up, then they're like, oh, it's going to be $140 more. And I'm like, oh, that's just great. I'm like, well, I don't even have the money. So, tough luck. I'll take care of you, but you need to submit that form. And then they called me up a couple days ago, and then they're like, oh, you owe us $80. And I said, okay, well, how much did they pay you? Because apparently the adjuster came by their shop, and they met with the adjuster, and then the adjuster gave him $170. So here I'm like, okay, well, you wanted $140 from me for the 500 of additional parts. That's what we calculated it at. But then he gets $170, and now he wants $80 from me. So I'm just like, what the fuck is even going on with this guy's accounting? It's just absurd. So I laid it into him. I castigated him on the phone, and I just he tried to interrupt, and I was just like, no, you lied to me too many times for me to even do this. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna check to see if you even got money from them yet, if you even submitted the form. So now you're wasting more of my time. And he was like, well, let me get my side of the story. And then I just like hung. I was like, no, I've heard enough of your bullshit, and I hung up on him.
Yeah, and this is what I think is the finest point of the entire story. So
he calls back, right? But I didn't answer the call, so he left a voicemail. He left a voicemail and he said, oh, we're going to write it off, and the $85, so you don't owe anything, you don't have to worry about that. But like I still feel bad. I'm like, you have to write this off? Like, you shouldn't be writing off anything. Like, you should have got that extra $500 that over the estimate, the original estimate that the insurance company gave. So like here I am thinking, like, this guy's already out money.
He's not
just
out anything.
I don't think he even knows how much money he has or he should be charging. I think it's an older guy that's been in business and he has great reviews. And like when I told Lucas about this, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna like go and when I was hanging up on him, I told him, I've had to hold back from leaving you a bad review because he had my car for a fucking month when he was supposed to have it for 4 days. So then he calls back, leaves a voicemail saying, basically that he's sorry and kind of his explanation of shit, which still didn't really make sense to me as far as the numbers go, but that, the end all be all was, you don't owe us any money and we'll be here for you in the future and we strive to do better and we're here for you. And so, I'm like listening to this voicemail and I'm like, God, I like feel bad. I'm like, God, I almost feel like I don't want him to write that off. I still feel like I owe them like $87.
You owe them nothing.
And that's why I'm not going to even go through the trouble of like reporting them to the Better Business Bureau. They also scuffed my car. Like when I got home, there was a big scuff on my car, which was obviously from like a big old bumper getting dragged along the side of my car during that month that it was sitting outside of their shop, having nothing done to it. All right.
There's a reason they say nice guys finish last. No offense.
But you brought up the point. You're like,
call the Better Business Bureau.
I should call the
You should, and just say, hey.
But I probably won't do it because I'm a stoner and we never follow through on stuff like that. At least I don't. Like, I'm like, oh, am I going to waste 20 minutes of my time, like, finding the Better Business Bureau's website and filling out a complaint, and then someone's going to call me from there, and then I'm going to have to talk to them about it, and, like, make this big stink. Like, if I have to spend more than, like, 3 minutes of my life, I don't know if I'm going to do it, I'm not going to donate my organs. I'm not going to go on the Better Business Bureau to report somebody, because I don't know. I just don't give a shit. It's like, I kind of recycle stuff, but I don't even do recycling that much, because it's like, I'm not going to save the fucking planet. There's, like, all these people out there that aren't recycling as well. Like, my little recycling amount, I'm not going to save the planet. Just because I recycle doesn't mean everybody else does,
I'm going to tell you a story. It's a very, very important story to what I have just heard here. The story goes that a man takes a grain of sand from a pile of sand every day for 1,000 years. When does the pile stop becoming a pile? What grain is it that he takes off it that turns it from a pile into a not pile?
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, holes are the same way. Like, you can't dig, like, half of a hole. Like, if you have a hole in the ground and you fill in half of it, you still have a hole, right?
Well, yeah.
There's got to be a name for that sort of a title of something, that it's, like, singularly always... Like, you can't have half of a pile.
Well, that you're taking it far too literally. The point of the story is that the pile will not disappear unless somebody takes that grain every moment. And I am a firm believer in thinking globally and acting locally. Because you can't affect what happens on the other side of the planet unless morphic fields are true, and we have all that fun information on that. But you can change your immediate environment.
Well, and think if the morphic resonance are real. Then, like, if you start recycling and you're starting being conscious of that, then, like, other people around you just spontaneously are. That's
Are
crazy.
Are you talking about maybe karma?
I guess it's kind of like karma, but it's the morphic resonance style thing.
Isn't it remarkable how you can draw from so many fields of knowledge?
Like that's the thing. Like I'm not gonna, if I have to like throw something away into a trash can that's like clearly recyclable, I'm not gonna like carry a fucking bottle around with me, to go and find a recycling bin.
Okay, and that's
fine.
Why, like,
that's
honestly,
healthy for you.
That, but we live in a
like
disposable society. So
I think we've talked about this before, but
it's almost a given at this point.
Our government should just be sorting, like making it law that all the trash has to be sorted at a facility, and like nothing goes into landfills anymore, and we just burn what we can and recycle everything that's like easily recyclable.
Norway
and just make
is
it so wherever that goes, wherever the trash goes, it has to be treated that way. And like it would be more expensive. Like if you're not pre-sorting your shit,
okay,
like
you're going with
trash
that
companies
money.
are going to charge more money. But
you're going with that money thing again.
But
if that were not a factor, if money were not a factor,
it's economically feasible. It totally is.
Well, and in the long run, it's more economically feasible to recycle because we really do only have so many resources upon this planet. I mean,
I think they should stop imports of like a bunch of that stupid Chinese shit. Like the blow up Santas, like fucking ban that shit. Ban the blow up Santas. Oh my god. I mean, there's so many products that like we need to have. Like we need to have brooms and replaceable mop heads and shit. But I mean to be wasting plastic on things that are just gonna break in no time.
Well, yeah,
I mean, that's not progressive at all.
Why no? It's very capitalistic. There is a wonderful. Now I'm gonna point out to one of my favorite places to get entertainment from, Reddit.
I don't like entertainment.
Fuck that.
Reddit is pretty good. They're all right. They've censored. They censored Pizzagate, right? So they've gotten kind of political.
I'm not quite sure if they did or not.
No, they deleted the thread on Pizzagate, for sure.
Yes, but is there concrete evidence to that?
Okay,
because I'm sorry.
You have to look into it
as
for
WikiLeaks
yourself,
as cool as WikiLeaks is.
Well, this isn't even a WikiLeaks thing.
I thought it was John Podesta's emails that they were pulling this out of.
No, so if you go to the competitor to Reddit, which is Vote.
Vote?
Yeah, if you go to vote.co, not com.
Yeah, and you have to dig through all the fat people hate first.
They have a Pizzagate thread that's been going for a while. And people obviously are there, so they're not just looking at Podesta's emails.
Sure.
They're looking at a lot of, these people are diving into.
Well, I understand.
They found
I understand
pedophiles, right? Registered, convicted sex offender pedophiles who have like Instagram pictures of them at Comic Ping Pong. So they're uncovering, and that's a violation of typically of like a convicted pedophile's orders. Like they're not allowed to be in places with kids. That's pretty typical. So I mean, they're actually on Vote. They're finding people, that are considered the most dangerous people in society. That they're basically doing the FBI's work for them, which is crazy. And these people are, these are vigilante keyboard warriors that are investigating the exploitation of children and possible like satanic shit that goes along with it. I mean, and I don't know. You have to look into Pizzagate, but it's a lot more than John Podesta's emails. I'll say that. I don't really care to get into it too much because it's a shitty. It's a depressing thing to even like. I've looked into it a bit, and it's depressing. Like looking into it.
Well, once I have more information on this particular.
I think it's fried.
Well, crap. You know what that means?
Is that the whole nug?
No.
Oh, no, that's good. No. Kudos. Yeah, we have to thank my brother. You know what kind of weed this is?
I actually wait. Hold on.
Because I didn't tell you, did I?
No, you did not. I haven't made a guess yet because I was paying more attention to the shatter that we tried earlier. So give me another couple hits and I'll pay attention.
Oh.
Is that all right?
We need a fresh bowl.
Is that okay? Can I do
Yeah.
that?
Well,
Okay.
you weren't thinking about it at that time, and it's kind of that cherry, that first green set that really gives away the flavor the most, I think.
And I'm putting the rest of that little shatter thing you gave me in here too, because it's stiff.
Yeah, the shatter.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks to my brother for this. He gave this to me today.
Yes. Today's bowl comes from Evan's brother. We don't have to say names.
Thanks, B-Dog.
Do you mind? May I?
No, go for
okay,
it.
Thank you. Okay, I'm taking greens on this. I normally don't if I've loaded it because I understand the etiquette.
Is there etiquette to it?
There is etiquette. Oh my, yes.
I'm always like so stoned. I don't even I'll forget
there's
where I am.
Well, okay. So you only take the first hit if everyone else says take the first hit, or you're smoking a joint,
or you're loading your own weed.
Well,
then you could take the first hit.
Then I guess you'd be taking all the hits.
You could do that too. You could go sneak off into a quarter. We want to take a moment to recommend that you enjoy weed responsibly. Do cool shit while you're stoned. That's part of the responsibility of being a stoner. Don't just do the video games thing. Go on a hike and stuff. There's a lot of cool things you can do when you're stoned, and being in nature when you're stoned is just it's better than video games. I'll tell you that. It's way better than video games.
The trees will sing to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a funny story about that. It's a diesel of some sort.
He's correct. It is a diesel.
Fuck.
That's all I know. Actually.
I can't really place it beyond.
No.
Maybe it's like almost like a cough. So maybe a strawberry diesel.
I do remember what it is. It's just straight up sour diesel.
It's no mix.
Just straight. Well, come on. You can't trust anybody's labels, Eventually they'll get weed ID where it scans
No, it's okay. All right.
Tells you exactly what it is,
It is a diesel, but there's a cough kind of sweetness to it. So I want to say maybe like a strawberry diesel or a. It could be a blueberry diesel. I don't think it, but I'm not getting that much of a body hit from it.
Dude, I was on our Instagram and I follow somebody called I should look it up because I can't because my phone's right in front of me, for God's sakes. Shouldn't be so lazy. This person's Instagram has all these weed pictures and it is fucking crazy. The shit that is on here is just absolutely insane. I'm going to show Lucas. There's a picture of someone's hand, and they've got. So it's Mary Jane Mania on Instagram. And
I'm sorry if I put a click in there. He said Mary Jane Mania.
Yeah. Okay. Look at this picture, dude. And there's got to be some way to retweet this. Okay, I'm gonna hit the heart. I think that means you'll be able to see it on our Bowl30 podcast. But they must have enhanced this picture, right? There's no way that they've got 7 different types of nug in their hand, and they're all different colors, and it is a fucking rainbow. There's
I don't think
there's
that's
shit that's red and purple.
Yeah.
And you've got the orangey, yellow.
Have you ever grown weed?
Crazy.
Okay, so a few years back, I was growing. The first one I did was a New York diesel, which is it's a mix, but it's dominantly diesel. And the first thing that I noticed about it was the flowers. People don't know what it actually looks like when it's growing. It's got these cute little flowers on it. I mean, they're beautiful.
Yeah, they always trim that shit off.
And they come. Well, the flowers are where the trichomes are made in the. Hold on. Pistils, I think is what they're called. Is it the pistils, or is that the male part?
Yeah,
regardless,
here's a good picture
of
the.
But just like tulips, just like roses, the flowers can come in a rainbow of colors depending upon how it's bred. And I was just amazed when the second year I did 3 plants, and one of them came out. I mean, a deep violet. The color of the leaves was a deep violet color. And one of them had these cute little orange flowers on them with like little red tips on them.
That's just so crazy.
But it was beautiful just watching them grow. If you ever have the opportunity, I would highly suggest growing your own, because it's just
if you can do it legally is what he's saying.
Legally, yes. I'm not endorsing
only
any.
promote legal activity.
Only legal activity.
Because
okay.
we have to.
I think we're going to have to put a disclaimer at the beginning.
Allegedly, we allegedly.
I think that's gonna become a running gag. Allegedly. So yeah, no, I do not endorse illegal activities. I try not to participate in illegal activities.
Okay, I'm going to like this joint thing too. So that should show up in our likes on Instagram. But this is also from Mary Jane Mania. It's a joint that's getting ready to be rolled up. And it has... So it's a bunch of fucking nugs. And just there's no way you can roll this thing up, I don't think. I don't think that paper's big enough. And then they have 3 noodles of shatter wax, basically, and then they have another couple couple of wax strewn about between the noodles of nuggery. It's just the most insane picture. There's what they did after they took that picture. They started picking at that stuff and picking the noodle up. Getting all the nugs off of it. There's no way they rolled that fucking thing up and smoked it. If there's a video of that, we want to see it here on the Bowl30 podcast. Make that happen. By the people on my Instagram likes.
Yeah, I'd actually like to see that too, because I'm not quite sure that's feasible. Is that the word I'm looking for? Feasible?
I don't think you could roll that joint up. It's a blunt. In a blunt wrap, it looks like there's just too much there.
I once had. Have you ever had a caviar cone?
No. Look at this other picture on Mary Jane Mania of a bunch of fucking cones. It's fucking crazy. I'm making editing work for you on the podcast. For now I'm gonna have to find these pictures and put these on the video.
Okay, all right.
But that one's pretty crazy. It's a bunch of pre-rolled joints.
Yeah. I don't know. I like them and I hate them at the same time. Joints.
Well, it's you have this burning going that you don't necessarily want to stop. I always feel I don't even know how to stop it, Yeah. I'm do I stop it just stop a cigarette? And pretty much,
well, and
I don't know. You change how well it's packed and shit. It's just an apparatus that's a pain in the ass and super wasteful. I think that's what it comes down to. It's I'm balling on a budget, so I only spend probably $20 on weed every 2 weeks.
So what I'm thinking is I think I need to invest in a vaporizer.
I don't know, when you vape weed, it seems like you go through a lot more. To get high when you're vaping.
Well, I used less.
I used to have a volcano. Oh, dude, okay. So how you said, have you ever grown weed before? And I was no, that's a lie. Okay, so when I was 17.
Did you lie to me?
Well, I just...
In this room here, in front of this record... My God, man.
In front of our whole audience. I just lied. I straight out lied. No, I just didn't remember.
I shun you.
I mean, to correct the record, you'll see that, like, I didn't really lie. Okay? Because once you hear the story, you'll know. Okay, so I was, like, 17, and I got some swag, and I, like, saved some seeds from the swag, right? And I went and planted them. Like, I read online how to grow it, right? That you would, like, you need the seeds that are black, basically, you know, and I put them in paper towel and let them germinate. And, like, that shit's been sitting around, you know, in some compressed brick, like, coming over from Mexico. I mean, like, that shit, the last time it saw the light of day was, like, probably 2 years ago, you know? So those seeds were, like, ready to go. So I think I germinated, like, 2 or 3 of them, because I think that's all I had, and I planted one of them that germinated, and it like grew upside down, basically. Like, the root, like, shot up, and then it turned around and made a U-turn and went back into the soil. Okay, and so it was just, and then, like, that was it. Like, it stopped growing at that point, because I apparently, I don't know, maybe it was, like, the weirdest thing. So that was my extent of ever growing weed.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
you gave it a shot.
I gave it a shot. I also, at one time, I was reading. I wanted to get morning glory seeds, right? But I read online, and morning glory seeds, like, if you eat, supposedly, I don't recommend doing this. Research it, but you can eat morning glory seeds and get an LSA trip, which is lysergic acid amine, I think, or instead of lysergic acid diethylamine, right? You can trip on, like, this natural form of LSD, basically. But apparently, like, the seeds are coated with something to make it so it, like, will make you really sick if you do that. And there's another plant seed that you can eat. It's like the baby Hawaiian wood rose, I think is what it's called. So you can eat either of those seeds in mass quantity and have an LSA trip. So,
Okay.
but I was afraid of, like, eating the actual seeds, and you need, like, a shitload of them. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I germinated a whole fuckload, like 200 morning glory seeds, right? And then, like, I think I was on acid, like, the following day. I went out and, like, planted them, like, all over the place, like, near my school. Like, there's like there's like a wetland area that was nearby, and I, like, planted morning glories, like, everywhere. And I'm sure I didn't. I went back to, like, one place that I, like, remembered for sure that I had planted them at. You know, I mean, I went back there and, like, none of them had grown at all. So,
well,
it was like a failed experiment. But
no,
I tried to like create, like, a harvest of morning glory seeds to trip on LSA.
Okay, it was a successful experiment. Unfortunately, something got a hold of your seeds and ate them and then shat them out somewhere else.
Probably.
Because was this, I don't know, say 13, 14 years ago?
Yeah, probably something like that.
That's when the morning glories showed up in our yard. We have not been able to get rid of them since. They are everywhere. We pull them, we try and dig them up.
I haven't known Lucas for very long, so that would be kind of weird if it happened.
No,
if
birds.
I happened to
Birds.
Oh, could be. But this was like in, like, the southeast metro area.
I believe it. I
In the
believe it.
eastern
Okay,
area.
so we got Bing cherries that showed up
But people
5 years ago.
there's a lot of people that plant morning glories.
Okay.
I mean, not like a whole lot.
Excuse me for a moment.
I planted a whole bunch of them, though. Oh, Lucas is dipping out again. It's just me and you guys. Get some time alone. Just kind of nice. Quiet. I started recording for, like, a video blog. So, like, I just carry a camcorder around, but my camcorder's pretty shitty. Like, I've uploaded some content, like, privately on YouTube to see where it's at, and it's at, like, 480 by 720. So it's, I mean, the quality's good enough, I guess. I guess what I'm going to do is just, like, use this footage, and maybe I'll make it, like, a B-roll You know, that if I don't want people to see it, then I'll put it like on YouTube Red or something, so people have to pay to see it. I don't know. I was thinking about that for some of our early podcasts, the ones that like are going to basically kind of be our shittier content, where like we don't have it down as quite as well. Maybe this episode is one of those. I don't know, but that we could like put the first 5 episodes on as like either like you would see like it, I don't know, like on a subscription. We could have that sort of a thing, or just have it on YouTube Red. But it's like if you're, I don't know. I would rather put it out there, but like make people pay for it. I'm talking about like our B-roll footage. You know, you're saying like we'll probably have like 5 episodes that we probably won't publish. You know, we'll have some ghost episodes. We already have one that like never got recorded.
Well,
we thought we were recording it.
That never actually happened. So
that one never happened. But I was just saying, I was like, you know, you could like just put it all. You could put it up on YouTube and have it on like YouTube Red, where like you'd have to pay to see it. You know, so we would start with like episode 6 and have episode 1 through 5.
I don't have to show tits in
the premium footage is kind of a cool way of doing it. I think like if we did it that way, maybe we'd have those first 5 episodes that are basically like you'd actually have to like want to hear our crappier stuff, which is kind of funny, you know. It's like if you want to pay to listen to our crappier shows, like here you go, like you know, like if you really want to support us, it's kind of like a show of faith. Like we don't want we're like God. Okay, we don't want you to love us. We want you to love us just like unconditionally. And if you're not like that type, you know, then we'll just take a pass on that.
That's a powerful statement right there.
That's just plain old crazy talk, is what that is. But yeah, the premium content. That's what Sasquatch Chronicles does, and I paid for it for a while. And it also gives you access to their secret forum, right? So if you want to get like deep into Bigfoot, then you have to pay Sasquatch Chronicles for a subscription, and you can listen to all their members only shows. I mean, you can kind of find them elsewhere too, but you know, that's kind of the whole premium content thing. Is you know, it's supposed to you're supposed to pay to listen to it. But I paid for it for a while, and he made it worthwhile. But I think like his show for his like once my subscription was up and I didn't renew it, and I went back to like only getting like 1 out of 3 shows, I was like, that sucks, you know. So I think if we did it, we would probably make like maybe 1 out of like 5 or 7 shows a premium show, and give people like more of the content. I don't know. But see, if we just did it on YouTube Red, then that's kind of a problem, because then it's like we're forcing people to do YouTube Red. Then we should also probably have it on our website as like a membership thing, like how Sasquatch Chronicles is set up. If we did it that way.
Well, what are we going to give them that's extra?
Just another show.
The chiming from my iPad telling me that it's midnight.
It'll just be a way that they can like support us, because if they want, you know, I'm sure they could find our premium content online somewhere for free.
Oh, sure.
You know, like that always happens. Like Reddit is like made
Actually,
for that, basically.
I would prefer if we released our content for free online.
Yeah. And then we also have a subscription.
Without telling anybody that we released the content. I just think it would be much better if we were the ones who released the content, so that we know that it's pure.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds dirty.
Yeah, we could do something non-logical. Like, I think, what artist was it that like released his album and he let you pay like whatever you wanted, like set your own price, sort of a thing.
Oh, what a wonderful idea!
Yeah, I think it was Trent Reznor. I think Trent Reznor did that actually, and I think Radiohead did it too.
Cool.
Maybe. Or I'm totally wrong about that. I don't know.
I have no
Dude, someone's probably listening to this and they're like, no, you idiot. It's this other thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Tweet us whatever comments. We'll look at the tweet and go, now what show is this deal?
Maybe we'll get around to like adding an annotation on it or something at some point.
Okay, we are human beings. We're fallible. I have a limp brain that holds specific, like, really random facts, like that the average rectal temperature of a ruby-throated hummingbird is 129.1 degrees Fahrenheit. But why would I know that? Okay, that's a random, useless... See, useless.
Is that like an actual fact?
That is an actual fact. But the thing is...
Did you go to a website named, like, weird facts or, like, odd facts? Have you ever been to those?
I have not. But
I have, and I've, like, memorized some of their stats, like cats can't eat on a vegetarian diet was one of them.
I believe
And
that.
I was like, oh, that's pretty believable.
I believe that, yeah.
I think I had a friend that, like, they were like hippies, sort of, and they put their cat on a vegetarian diet because it was, like, sick or something, and then all of its hair fell out.
Can I want to... Okay, that just really reminded me of this fantastic story that I must tell you.
Please do.
So, back in the early days of my video career, I met this gal who is...
and you're talking about video production.
Video production, yes, I'm sorry.
People could definitely misconstrue that.
Okay, so met this gal who lived in a very open-minded place with a lot of open-minded people who believe in a lot of really open-minded things. I'm trying to think of a really nice way to say it was a commune of hippies. But
it sounds like a place that comes to mind. But there's a few of those around the nation. I'm sure, like, wherever you're listening to this, there's probably some people like that.
You can relate. You
can
relate. So she wanted to do this television program on her local station, which was a community-run station, and that's, I mean, I have no problems with that. There's a lot of good programming that comes out of it.
Okay.
So her first episode was about spiritually connecting with your pets.
That's fucking awesome. Like being like a psychic with your dog.
Sort of. More like attuning your life to help your pets as much as you help yourself. So we went to
I definitely need to take a hit for the rest of this story.
You might, yes. This is quite a tale. It ended up being a disaster, but I learned some fascinating facts because our first interview was with a nutritionist, a pet nutritionist in Boulder, because that's the only place.
I didn't know if you were going to name drop the city Boulder.
Oh no, Boulder. I'm gonna name drop because everybody knows Boulder is a place where
Boulder's like the hippie mecca of planet Earth.
Well, they were smart.
If you search hippie on Google, and if Boulder doesn't come up on the first page, you need to go to DuckDuckGo.
Yeah. Okay. Boulder is a smart city. They did build a ring around themselves so they can't grow. Tangent. So this nutritionist,
dog nutritionist, pet nutritionist,
all animals,
birds eat as well,
birds,
reptiles.
Gerbils, reptiles, what have you.
Dude, this person could probably look at a shit and be like, I know exactly what kind of animal that came from.
Oh, I have no doubt. But they felt that they were connected on a spiritual level, and they said, well, you know, our cats and dogs were just unhappy until we started feeding them meat all the time. I was thinking about it. I'm like, huh. Well, it does make sense. They were carnivores until they became, our house pets, and it's just recently that we've started bloating their food with carbohydrates and vegetables that were not in their diet before. I mean, what does a dog do for roughage? It goes in and eats some grass.
Dude, think about what is the market cap for veterinary bills in this country? I'll bet you veterinary bills is probably a $4 to $6 billion a year business.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, it might even be bigger than that. I mean, but
what would that be? GDP percentage veterinary bills percentage of GDP or something like that. I wonder if I can.
Do they have a correlation for that?
I'm gonna try to ask Siri. Siri, search the web for GDP of veterinary bills. That's like the stupidest sentence.
Here's what I found on the web for GDP of veterinary bills.
It might have found it.
I think it took me to. Oh, it's going to Bing.
Oh,
Bing search.
Nice.
Dude, Bing.
Let's see if I can find
If
it.
you go on Bing and use their video search to look for like viral videos and stuff, they have a really good interface. Actually, I kind of liked it.
All right, I'm gonna search veterinary spendings percentage GDP. You want US?
Yeah, or a dollar amount.
I'll just put USA.
Bills, annual.
Oh.
Dude, that totally sounded like you farted.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That didn't mean it.
Dude, babies fart all the time. It's like the funniest thing ever. Like when my little son like farts, it's hysterical. I'll be holding him and he'll be bouncing up and down and he'll fart and he'll laugh. It's just like, I don't know. That's like something that's just, we're born with it. Farts are funny, man.
They are.
Okay,
You'll
what I
get
should
no argument
search is
from
like
me.
how much does America spend on veterinary bills?
Gifts, food.
Alright, here we go. As we mentioned above, Americans spent an estimated $15.73 billion on veterinary care in 2015. Oh my God. The average dog owner spent an average of $235 on routine vet visits in 2015. Cat owners, $196. Dude, cats, any young people out there, like, if you're, like, moving out and you're, like, getting your own place, do not get a pet. Like, please play it smart. Like, don't be a pet. Don't get a pet, like, unless, like, if you're single and, like, young and moving into your own place and you don't have a pet yet, don't get one. Because, you can, you can wind up going and partying and, like, having a lot more fun. And you won't feel bad. Like I had a dog all the time, and I would always have to like leave places early because to let my dog out. And I would feel bad like leaving my dog at home, and I didn't get to party quite as hard as I wanted to because I always had to come home, and they're expensive. Like cat food and dog food can be, if you have like a dog or a cat that's sick, I mean, it can be crazy expensive to buy the food for that pet. So like if you're moving out of your parents' place and you don't and there's a dog or a cat and you have the option of taking it or keeping it at your parents' place, like it's probably a good idea to maybe leave it there if that's cool, if that works. I mean, I'm not saying like abandon your pets or anything, but like that is, oh man, especially now like with kids.
So it ends up being 1.4% of gross domestic product, which is a very significant amount
spent on veterinary bills.
That's a lot.
Like, dude, like people shouldn't have pets. Like, I mean, we shouldn't like take away people's right to like have pets, obviously, but like I think like as society grows and we move more towards that that future stage, I think less and less people will have pets because it's I don't know, it's hard. It's so hard. People are really selfish, right? And everyone's on Facebook all the time and wanting to, be the center of the world. Like narcissism is on the rise. I think people less and less people will have pets. I think there'll be like a downward trend in pet ownership, but veterinary bills will just keep going through the fucking roof because. Holy shit, dude. My cat has scratched its face, right? And the cat's 12 years old and it has it was outdoors for a while, so it has like cat herpes or cat AIDS. Sorry, it has cat AIDS. Right, that's actually what it's like called. It's called like kitty AIDS. But it's like basically the same type of virus as AIDS in amino. It's a what is it? It's a retroactive immunodeficiency disease, right? Super common in cats. Like if your cat goes outside, it's gonna get this disease, like for sure. If it gets in a fight with other outdoor cats, like they get cat scratch fever and they pass a bunch of germs back and forth between each other. And it's not something that's like, well, actually, cats.
Is this toxoplasmosis?
No, this isn't even toxoplasmosis, which is so interesting because I was thinking the other day about like talking about toxoplasmosis on the podcast because it is one of the craziest things ever. Have you seen the YouTube video that shows what it does to rats? Okay, so toxoplasmosis is like a cystic. I mean, I think it's like a prozon or a prion.
Prion.
I think it's a prion, but what it does is it forms cysts. Okay, and humans can get it, and they say most humans get it from undercooked meat. But if you have toxoplasmosis, you have tiny cysts in your brain. It's actually what toxoplasmosis does in humans, and it also does it in a variety of other things like rats. Okay, so when rats toxoplasmosis, to complete its life cycle, it goes from a cat to a rat back to a cat, and you can watch a YouTube video that explains how this works. But when the rat gets toxoplasmosis, the cysts in its brain change the way that it works, and it makes it seek out the smell of cat urine. So and it removes the fear, so it nullifies the fear in the brain. So toxoplasmosis changes the rat's brain, so it's not afraid of anything, especially a cat, and it'll seek out the smell of cat urine, which normally they're totally afraid of, right? So it changes the brain 180 degrees in two areas, and it makes the rat so when a rat gets it, it'll just run to a cat, and then the cat will eat it, and then the toxoplasmosis goes back to the cat, and it completes its life cycle. It grows and matures in a different way, and then the cat like craps it out, right? And it craps out toxoplasmosis, and then rats come by and will eat it. And then they'll get it, and then they'll seek out cats, and so they'll be like they're like crazed when they get it. Okay, and my theory is that when people get it, they're tricked into taking care of cats, and then like being like spacey brained, right? Like they know if you have toxoplasmosis, you have 8 times the chance of getting in a car accident. You're 8 times more likely to get in a car accident if you have toxoplasmosis. And it's the reason why pregnant women aren't supposed to change the litter box, because if you get the introduction of more toxoplasmosis into your system and it goes through everything, it can really fuck up a fetus, because it's when that's in there, like when you get cysts in your brain and your brain's really, really small, those cysts make up a lot larger of a percentage.
Crazy cat ladies are real.
So, I don't know. I mean, like they say, if you go to the Wikipedia page, and this is why you can't fucking believe Wikipedia, because clearly if it affects people's reaction times and the likelihood of them crashing their car, like if you have toxoplasmosis, like you want to probably like try to, I don't know if there's treatment for if you have it. I know you can get a blood test done to find out if you do have it.
Sure.
I think it can be hard to detect though, because every once in a while these cysts in your brain, if you have it, they burst, and then they like basically multiply, and like that whole mechanism isn't really well understood either.
So during this entire thing, I've come up with a wonderful idea. I believe that we should animate much of our podcast, for the simple reason that I know I was making horrific faces at most of what you were talking about because I had no idea, and it just struck me as such a root core of
It's so crazy, dude.
Well, because I mean, I have a brain disease, and it's frightening enough as is with these,
dude,
with what I've got. But cysts, good lord! I mean, you're basically talking about pimples on your brain.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad thing to get. It's kind of amazing though that like people can have it and pretty much function like totally A-okay. Pretty much. I mean, there's going to be some differences, but this is the thing. This is like something that they don't fucking research, you know? Because it's like one of those things they don't want you to know. I guess. I don't know. It probably helps keep population rates down. I'll tell you that.
Well, there's
but
there's
I mean, it's
that
also like the danger factor.
I mean, but what percentage of the population has it? I mean, yes, every disease should be given, full attention.
Somebody needs to research that. Somebody listening to this that like is going into do something like fucking research. Do like a study where you look at people with toxoplasmosis and like observe their behavior and like do it like in a medically documented way and see if there's like trends that can be like picked up really well. Like if you create videotape in like controlled settings of people, then you could process that like using some like advanced AI and shit and see if they can pick up differences in their behavior, like using predictive software. Walmart does that for choppers, like on their mega center cams.
Oh, good lord! I'm never going to Walmart again.
They can tell by your body language if you need help, and like they have the ability, if they had anybody fucking working there that would like give a shit and like go and help somebody, but they could tell like they have the ability to tell with like, especially with like facial recognition, especially if they have the cameras set up that are like right pointing at your face, like they have at Home Depot that you walk up to. Have you been to Home Depot lately?
I have not. I haven't.
You go in there and you go like down the aisle with power tools, dude. It's like dee 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 dee, and you look up and there's a camera and that's pointed at you, and it's like at eye level, and there's a monitor showing you on camera, like looking at items, and they have like a few of them. Obviously, it's to deter shoplifting, but it could be used for better, for like better customer service and stuff. But there's something that's just like so off-putting about like the government and the fucking cameras going in and facial recognition software. There's something that's like so off-putting about it, But on the other hand, I'm like, fuck, man, that can be some great technology, But I don't know. I can't help but just to think like it's just gonna all go in one direction where people are just like gonna wind up talking to each other less and less. Like that's how it's gonna be designed.
The book is called 1984 by George Orwell. That's GeorgeOrwell.
Our listeners didn't know that we were playing word charades just then. What is a scary future that we're plummeting to at a rapid pace?
You can get it for free online in many places, in audiobook or in readable form for your Kindle or whatever the hell you have these days, iPads and
Here's
crap.
a shocker. Did you know that I voted for Trump? I'm reading Lucas's facial expression. He's kind of like, it's almost like he's frowning. Almost. No.
What? I thought I was giving like a wry grin.
You're giving like a smirk. You're like, am I sitting in front of an idiot? He's like, I've heard of it say he's stupid before, but now I know it.
That is not at all what was going through my mind.
See, I voted for Trump for a couple reasons. First of all, probably made my dad happy. So that's one reason that I voted for him. It's for my dad. And then Hillary, I don't know. I just I believe in conspiracy theories. So I think that there's an Illuminati and Hillary's in on it and Trump's not. That's actually what I actually think that Trump is not part of the Illuminati and Hillary Clinton is, and a vote against the Illuminati is always the right vote, in my perspective, when it can be identified. And even Newt Gingrich said on TV that he hasn't been through the rites of passage. That's what Newt said in a interview, which was kind of creepy. And plus, like, okay, like, you know, there is the possibility that, like, Trump could go, I mean, he could go megalomaniac. I mean, I don't anticipate that to happening. I think that, like, that's really unlikely. I think it's really unlikely that anything major is ever going to change or happen in our lifetime. I mean, like, I'm 30 years old. I've been paying attention to things for at least, like, 2 or 3 years, and I haven't seen much change. But I don't know. I don't think that there's going to be any real significant changes, like, in our American lifestyle. I think it's going to be business as usual for as long as possible. Like, we're going to be burning fossil fuels in our vehicles for as long as they can make it happen. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to eat these words, you know, but I guess the point is Trump could go totalitarian, so you got to vote for him then, right? Like, you don't want to be on the list of people that didn't vote for him if they start throwing people in camps and stuff.
How would they know?
Who you voted for?
Yeah.
Well, you could announce it to the world on a podcast. That's one way you could do it.
Why do you think I haven't said a damn thing about who I voted for?
NSA, you can just drop me right on that safe list.
But there's a reason it's a secret ballot. It's so that you have no fear of retribution from those who would be in power. It is one of the cornerstones of our republic.
Yeah, that's not something to really worry about anymore these days. Like, I don't see it ever coming up, you know?
And don't get me wrong, I mean, pretty much anybody could figure out who I voted for because of the way I chit-chat.
I would have voted Libertarian. I don't know. I didn't vote, like, in a number of the last elections because I don't know.
Actually,
I just don't care.
May I pose an extra reason as to why voting for Trump was a good thing?
Yes.
The Daily Show has really sucked recently.
Yeah, The Daily Show's kind of sucks since Trevor Noah took over. He's kind of a flop, dude.
Well,
I feel sorry for him, too.
He doesn't... what's the word I'm looking for? He doesn't have the balls that Jon Stewart had. Because Jon Stewart really didn't give a fuck who he pissed off. Trevor Noah seems to.
Well, one of the things Jon Stewart did, and I found this out recently, is that he hired some guy to, like, really actually research shit, like, super in-depth, and they would go over, like, what kind of dialogue and how things were to be portrayed, to be accurate. Like, Jon Stewart, like, what he would talk about and the scope of everything, and to actually know what you're talking about, and to be able to say, like, this is what's actually happening here, and this is the reason why this thing is happening in some foreign country. You know, it's really hard to get that right. And Jon Stewart had, I think, it was at least one person that was like a super genius behind the scenes, but I think there was 2 guys that were super fucking smart that they would run everything by and make sure that Jon Stewart was, like, on point and being very accurate. Since Jon Stewart left, I think some of that has kind of evaporated. I think there's definitely a lot more, in my opinion, there's a lot more sway in their opinion. Like,
It's almost like they're trying not to piss anybody off.
They fucked up some stuff. Like, they fucked up this girls' soccer. I don't know if you saw that, but they were talking about how the girls' soccer team, the U.S. women's professional soccer team, doesn't get paid as much as the men's team, which is totally true. They don't. You know, but the program also doesn't have the same viewership that the men's program does. You know, is it scaled perfectly for each system? I don't think it is. I think it's that, you know, for the per view, like, the amount of money that each player gets paid per view is actually higher with the girls' soccer, but they make less money because there's so many less viewers, right? So from a business perspective, they have some moral ground to stand on.
A business perspective. Well, does that do with the ethics of both people are working equally hard for equally doing, but it's just because not as many people are watching?
Yeah, that it's not making the same ad revenue, and, like, to pay them more would You know, like there's somebody probably owns that team. It's probably some rich white guy, and he needs to have those billions of dollars in his bank account. And you know what? That's fine. Whatever. He needs to have that shit.
He must have it. Yeah.
So that's how it works, I guess. Like, you know, I mean, I see it both ways. I mean, I kind of see like if you're putting on a show, like you produce shows, you know, and you probably get paid based on there's some scaling based upon how many people are going to be seeing this product, right, and how much advertising money they can make.
You'd be surprised.
You know.
No. Most of the time, you get paid to do something to create a product, and the product is then sold, and whoever the executives are the ones who make the money off of the ad revenue.
Yeah.
Because the people who are selling
like
the
if
ad
you're
revenue
working,
are paid an hourly rate.
Like if you're working, let's say you're working on a TV show, like a huge hit TV show. Like I don't know what that would be, The Big Bang Theory now.
Okay,
you would get paid more. You should, and probably would get paid more as like even just like a camera person. You'd probably get paid more on that set than the set for like, you know, like Disney, you know, Espanol that has like really, really low viewership over in Mexico. You know, like if you're working on that crew, you're going to be making less money because there's less money that's being made from the advertising and it all, you know, it's all scaled. Like we both know that there's people that make way too much fucking money in some businesses. I mean,
sure. Yeah.
You know, when you like they were talking about the school board and how like the head of the school board makes like $200 and something thousand for Jefferson County, and they're saying like, oh
nice
well,
income.
you know, he should be that, you know, he only needs like $80,000, you know, like to pay him more than that is kind of ridiculous, you know. And I guess you could argue that, you know, you could also argue that like he might quit and go work somewhere else for $80,000, and we might get somebody that's even shittier in there, you know, that doesn't do as good of a job because they're only getting paid $80,000, you know. But if you were to take that difference, that, you know, $150,000 and divvy it up between all the teachers, like each one of them would get some small amount of money, like $12 or something, you know, for how many teachers there are. Or maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's like $45.
Well,
I can't remember how many teachers they had in Jefferson County, but it's like a lot. Like a few thousand.
Okay.
So let's see. So,
So
it's
that
like
would be like
150
$90
thousand divided by like, let's say there's 3,000 teachers, it'd be like $50. If it's like 2,000, then it's like $80. But it's not like a huge amount of money in difference there, right?
It could be the difference between paying, you know, your medical bill and your food bill that month.
It could be. I mean, teachers get paid a fairly decent wage. I think they get, you know, they get more than people that work at McDonald's. You know, they get. Let's see. I think.
Do they?
I think a teacher starts at like $30,000 a year, right?
And how much?
So that's like $15 an hour.
And how much of the teacher's salary?
And it might be like $18 an hour if you like broke it up. But they do work more than 8 hours a day.
And how much of the teacher's salary goes back into the classroom because the school has strict budgets for oh crap, I hope I didn't make a loud noise. Because the school has strict the budgets to pay for the administration.
Yeah. I mean, that happens where teachers are buying supplies that they shouldn't have to be buying. I mean, there's definitely some shitty stuff. Of course, like if a teacher, at least in the Cherry Creek School District, like if they had more education, they get paid more every single year that they work. And then if their education, if they get a master's degree, then they'll make, you know, they'll have like a $4,000 a year increase in their income or something like that, you know. And then all the way up to like being a doctorate, and you could have a doctorate and be a teacher.
But look at the
and
money.
Make like $75,000 a year. Or
but see, we're back to this whole money issue. I mean, look at the tax base in Cherry Creek.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they could be paid more, and that would be better all around. Obviously, yeah.
Oh, dear. Okay, careful. Socialism alert. Wouldn't it be nice if there were just a great big pool of money that all of the teachers throughout the entire nation could take a part of, and then we might have better education for everyone?
Dude, you know how like they say like if you like the lottery dollars go to like schools, right? I think John Oliver did a program covering it.
Okay.
He's on HBO, but you can also watch it for free on YouTube. But John Oliver goes and he talks about they investigate Oregon. So Oregon has this like really aggressive marketing for their lottery, and they say like $200 million went to schools, right? But what happened is like the amount of money that the schools got, like their budget, didn't increase at all. But like the $200,000 that came from the lottery went to the schools, and then there was or $200 million a year, and then that $200 million a year that was going to the schools goes back into like a slush fund where they're like using the money for I have no idea what, probably like expensive dinners and shit. Like a lot of government agencies are kind of notorious for wasting money in crazy ways. Like I've heard stories from people that like work catering at like the West End and like government agencies that go there, and the food that they order and their bills are like huge bills, and they're not even like eating any of the food, and it's just like what the fuck. Like I heard that a number of agencies were like dining at the West End and overspending by like 10 grand, just being wasteful. But
well, it might be. Well, yeah. I don't know.
You would think, like, as time goes on, like, can we become a more peaceful species? If that happens, that would be great. But, like, if that happens, then you'll have, like, less money being spent on police. And especially with, like, autonomous vehicles, like, you could really see, like, if autonomous vehicles roll out and people are more peaceful, like, you could have a major decrease in the amount of police that are needed, and cut down on the amount of police, and then put all that money into school teachers. Like and increase their wages a whole bunch. That's a good solution there.
I like that.
That's a good reallocation of
well,
funds.
we don't need the large militarization of the police that we have right now. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous because crime rates are down for the most part.
They are, and like they have been going down for like a number of years. Like FBI statistics on like all violent crimes, I'm pretty sure, have been on like a downward trend since like what the
early 90s.
Yeah. That's so weird. Like the Freakonomics, like he's like, oh well, that correlates exactly with Roe v. Wade being established, and like basically an 18-year delay from the time that abortion was made illegal from the time that crime rates went down.
Okay, now I'm going to make a recorrelation here. Doesn't it make sense that people would be anti-abortion because they want crime rates up because they work in the police or the judicial?
So like the jail systems is like lobbying for abortion law to go away. Like we need more unwanted babies.
I mean, it's ridiculous. As soon as you make these, connections.
It's a really tough thing to talk about though, because it's just like it's horrible. Like all around, like abortion is like a terrible thing that like nobody. Like, did you hear that Lena Dunham, no, Lena Dum that she said that she like wished that she had an abortion so that she could sympathize with like her. She's like a big feminist, right?
Okay.
So she could sympathize with or empathize.
Okay.
Sympathize.
I'm going to stop you right there because I'm not a fan of the term feminist. Feminist is a derogatory term that was added to the humanist movement, and I do not like the term feminist because it gives it that it's only for women. It's for everyone, and I really despise the feminist.
You're starting to sound
moniker.
like a pro men's rights activist.
I'm a pro everybody's rights activist.
See, he's got it down right. That's the right position to be from,
I don't think anybody should have any superior. I mean, we're different people. But okay, go on, Lena Dunham. Go on.
Oh, well, no, she's a self-proclaimed feminist. She loves the term. But, so she said that she, wished that she had an abortion so she could empathize with her fellow sisters in the feminist movement who have been through it, right? That she could, be a martyr. And then there's, a fucking shitload of backlash on the internet over that.
Okay, so
people
one
just being
person...
you wish that you, had an abortion. And so, maybe it's one person, maybe it's 12. I bet you it's probably, honestly, this was pretty big. I think there was, a lot of tweets at her from, a few different people. So it was at least probably 35 people. And then she, issued, an apology about it, that she's, being insensitive because, nobody wishes to have an abortion, and she said that she wished that she had, and, that's just, it's taboo, and it should be taboo, because it is something that, we shouldn't be, there aren't people, cheerleading the fact that, that they had an abortion, it's that's, whenever anybody goes through that, I think that any sane person, feels negative emotion from going through that. Any woman that has to go through that is, that there's pain and scarring emotionally, besides whatever happens physically, that comes from doing that.
Certainly.
And so for Lena Dunham to say, that she wished, even in passing, and we say shit on here that people can take out of context and be and then if we paid attention on Twitter and people were super mad at us, oh God, I guess I probably wouldn't apologize, because unless I actually said something and I meant it, but if I was saying something jokingly, you can fuck up, and she fucked up. Sure. She shouldn't have said that, and sure. she had to comment on Twitter, and she's had a few fuck ups lately, which is
okay. Well, I'm gonna step back from this one, and we're not gonna focus on the one person here. Okay, the one person who apparently is the focus of a lot of rage. Let's broaden our horizons out to the picketers and the protesters and the folks who yell at the women who go to make this difficult choice.
Yeah, that's obviously super fucked up. You shouldn't be that person. Yeah.
So
it's hard enough if someone's making that choice, and if that's the choice that they're going to make, it's not
it's not your choice.
It's not your place to interfere with other people, really. You can help people to an extent, but you really can't actually help people. As much as you want to help somebody, to really truly help somebody change their life, you can't be somebody's hero. You're not going to be able to change that person, but what you can do is you can accept people for who they are, and you can accept people for with their flaws, and and respect the fact that people are human, and let people make decisions for themselves when they decide to, and even if you think that what they're making is wrong, that if they,
is that you, Jesus? I've been looking for you.
You gotta. But you gotta live and let live. Like I said earlier, I would have voted for a libertarian, but obviously that's throwing your vote away. Clearly, you're not going to vote on the winning team. If it's about winning, you should vote on the winning team, right? Whichever one you think is going to win, be I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon. Political breakdown.
This is the demise of the Republic of the United States of America.
I like going from something that makes perfect sense to something that makes no sense at all. People are God, Evan's super reasonable, and then they're what the fuck did you just say? That's just insane.
Okay, well,
I say these things facetiously.
Well, we'd like to call that a non sequitur, which is a wonderful form of humor. Look it up, non sequitur. It's Latin.
We're quite experts in the non sequitur.
I tell you what, I am so pissed right now because I am smoking the cigarette, okay, with the flamey and the smoky and the charcoaly thing on the end of it. And I don't like it. I hate it. I hate it because it takes me back and it gives me all, hacky and coffee. But I hate it. And I'm so pissed at the United States right now for making the electronic cigarette harder to get, because it was helping hundreds of thousands of people to not smoke. And I am back smoking again because of a breakdown in the whole thing. So
back on the carcinogens.
So I'm back on the cigarettes, and I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
Cigarettes are a pretty harsh form of tobacco. I don't know. You like the e-cigarettes? Like I went on an e-cigarette for a couple months and like switched over successfully. But I just got like the cheap one, the silver bullet, and that thing, like I wound up like having like 6 or 7 batteries, and I don't think I like kept the mouthpiece terribly clean, and I think I got like candida from it.
Ew.
Yeah, which is like thrush, which is like an overgrowth. It's a yeast infection in your mouth, is what it is. And what's crazy is like yeast eats sugar, right? And like you get the propyl glycol. So like what I remember happened a lot when I would use my e-cigarette is I would get like fluid coming up from it. And it's just because I was like using shitty equipment. I'm sure like if you have better equipment that probably doesn't happen. But I think like getting that in my mouth, that fluid, and then like not like ever cleaning my mouthpieces that I was using, that probably did it. So be careful out there with those e-cigarettes. Yeah, I think they're great all around. I don't think you can use them on planes anymore. For a while, you could like really get away with it.
I don't think so. Probably not. It's ridiculous because the only thing that comes out essentially is water vapor.
Pretty much. I mean, there's going to be
there's
definitely going to be some nicotine going into the air, like for sure. There's going to be some little aerosol particles of nicotine going into the air. But I mean, like if somebody smoked a cigarette before they got on the plane, like they're breathing out, like, and like the fumes that come off someone that smokes cigarettes, like that's going into the air too.
So
but I mean that's part of like common space. Like if you want to go out there in the world, like you might have to sit next to someone that stinks.
Yeah.
It's part of it, people.
Yeah, and other people have different hygiene conditions. I mean, look at the Bolians.
The Bolians?
Yeah. Do you know about the Bolians and their special sanitary issues?
Where do they? What time period are we talking about?
24th century.
The future?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I definitely don't know what you're talking about. The Bolians?
The Bolians. It's a race in Star Trek. I love Star Trek because Star Trek is the perfect conglomeration. I mean, it's kind of easing us into it because, yes, humans kind of still are at the top and in control, but there's, hundreds of other species that we have to deal with. The Bolians are one of them. And they are apparently very messy when they excrete waste.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. They're blue.
They're blue people?
They're blue. Yeah, they're blue and they look like they have a seam going through the middle.
I wonder what color their crap is. Like, can they see it really easily? Or do they have to, like, stand on top of a mirror? Do they have crevices, like, all over their body?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is they have this thing that goes throughout their entire... You don't know.
I mean, look at that. Oh, I'm going to be in trouble.
Have we gone on for hours and hours again?
That's an hour 28.
Okay. Everybody?
Alright, that's the podcast.
We're ending the podcast, and we do like to end them on sort of a, note. So, thank you very much, and good night.
Yeah, surprise, motherfuckers. Go to the next one. Next podcast.